Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Chrissy B Show. And on tonight's show, we're going to be discussing how to embrace being over 50 rather than dreading it. Now, your 50s can be the start of a new adventure, but why do so many people feel that their life is over? And how can you make the most of yourself? Joining me today, I have Keren Smedley, who specialises in empowering for the over 50s, and also a makeup artist. Let me get all the names right, because we've got quite a few people in the studio today. We've got Andrea Lewis, makeup artist, and also we have husband and wife team, Mario and Emma Moriali, who's doing the hair on our model today. And our model tonight is Deborah. Now, let's just say hello to the team over here. You've already started there, haven't you guys? So,
hi.
Yeah. So, Deborah, how are you feeling? You're going to get a nice makeover today?
I'm feeling quite excited, bit terrified as well.
Bit terrified? Is that because of TV or because of everyone fussing around you?
I suppose it's just a mix of everything, but the TV's got something to do with it.
Oh, you'll be fine. It's just going to look fabulous. Okay, and we also have the lovely Lisa Marie with us.
Hi, good evening.
Hello. And we might as well introduce Keren as well. Hello, Keren.
Hi,
You're back.
hi, very nice to be back.
So we touched on a topic last time you came on about being over 50 and sort of difficulties with relationships and stuff like that. We're going to go into a few different things tonight as well. So let's start with Lisa Marie.
Hello.
How are you, my darling?
I'm good, thank you.
So tell us, what do you have for us today?
Well, I mean, first of all, we know an icon has retired. Another one.
Oh, yes.
David Beckham.
How old is he?
He's like 37, I think.
Is he?
So yeah, but in footballing,
Retired.
but in footballing terms, that's like a pensioner, you know. So putting it in perspective, and it's been a spate of quite a few. So we've had the great Sir Alex Ferguson retiring last week, David Beckham. So it's like all these other people that were, started off when I started watching football as well, but now it's like everyone.
You're a bit of a football fanatic.
I'm
in
totally
high heels.
Manchester United. Yeah, no, I'm running heels and all. We go support them in heels and all. But it's all over. So now we're making way for the next people. But I'm sure it's not the last we'll have heard of Brand Beckham, because he's
I'm just wondering what he's going to go for. If he's going to concentrate on the charity work or on.
See, he does a lot, but then he does do a lot. He's got like football schools and stuff like that, and he's got obviously like the H&M contract that he did last time. Yeah. He's done lots of different modelling, and maybe now it's because it's Victoria who'll be the breadwinner, so now he can be the dutiful husband. You never know.
Follow her around the world.
Exactly. On the fashion stuff. And then, so relating to the topic today is about people who are looking glam after 50, because personally,
people do see it as a bit of a death sentence, don't they? It's like, because I don't understand why though. Well, anyway, we're going to go more into it.
Me, I think you were fabulous at any age. I mean, my mum, I'm not going to say how old she is because she'll probably kill me. No, but she doesn't look her age. My mum's like 55, my dad's 54, and nobody would ever guess that they are in their 50s. When my mum talks about her kids, like they think she's talking about like kids when she's telling them she's got like, I will be 31, a 31-year-old daughter. They're like, never. So I think as long as you are loving life, doesn't matter what you look like. And so we've got a few people who, celebs who are over 50 and they are still doing it just as good as when they were younger. So Denzel Washington, he's one of my absolute favourite actors. He's 58.
Is he?
He is 58. He's nearly 60, but he's not slowing down at all. I mean, I think Training Day was like one of my absolute favourite films, and he is absolutely fantastic in it, and as well as all the other ones that he's done. Turning our attention to the ladies, Miss Joan Collins. She is.
She's changed.
She has.
There you go.
She is 79 years young. 79 years young, and she has said before.
Although she's had a lot of work done, hasn't she?
But no, she hasn't had as much as people think. She actually said that she has tried Botox. In her words, she said it hurt like hell and put her off for good. So she has always denied having lots of work done, and she does look quite similar, I would say, to how she did when she was younger. You can still see the features are there. So she's not somebody who's like gone crazy and over the top. So for 79 years old, and when I've seen her like on chat shows and stuff like that, I think she's absolutely brilliant for doing that at her age as well. Going back to the guys, I think we saw him just there. George Clooney.
There we go.
One of the world's most eligible bachelors, still at 52 years old. But it seems as well that the older he's got, the more that he's done. So he's turned his hand to directing films and producing films and things like that, as well as starring in some of them himself. But still absolutely on top of his game at 52. No age at all, I don't think. Another actress that I really admire, 2 times Oscar winner, Ms. Meryl Streep. 63
I think she's beautiful.
Years old.
really lovely.
And you would never guess it. I mean, like in Mamma Mia, a couple of years ago, when she's still jumping up and down and running and dancing like that. And, you know, she would have probably been around 60, 61 when she did that. So, I mean, it's absolutely amazing. And she is another one, she's completely opposed to plastic surgery. And it's never harmed her
She
career.
looks gorgeous. You can tell, you can tell she's over 50, but she's beautiful still. And I think it's nice when people actually embrace their age and not try and sort of fight against it, because we're all going to age, we're all going to get wrinkles. I don't know, what do you think, Keren?
I think that's absolutely right. And I think what's so interesting is that when we hear the word 50, we have an image in our head, and it's actually not 50. It's very often an 80-year-old that's in our head rather than... So when people say, you don't look your age, what does that mean? Yeah. You don't look the age I imagined you would do when I had a picture in my head of somebody who was 50 or 60, rather than you don't look your age. Yeah. And it's actually, we do all look different as we age. Of course we do. But it isn't worse. It's just as good. It's just different. And there is a big difference between being 50 and being 80 or 90. And I think sometimes we forget. Yeah. You know, so many of us will live till we're 100, so at 50, you're just halfway through.
Yeah, exactly.
I totally agree. You know, I'm not a fan of when you see everyone's looking a carbon copy of the other one, you know, look like they've been through a wind tunnel. And, you know, you're supposed to have, you know, your face is supposed to move and, you know, it's supposed to show expression and people get
I don't know if you're going to mention this particular lady, or let me let you finish.
No, it's all right, go on, because we've got through it. No. Again, amazing.
Beautiful. I think she's lovely.
And she doesn't act like, as where people think, a typical person who is over 50 should. You know, you saw her the other day, she dyed her hair pink. Was it for some awards ceremony? She looks amazing. She's still there on stage. She's playing the Queen again. Seems her favourite role. And you know, there was pictures of her in the news recently where she had a go at the drummers that were annoying her and disturbing her performance. So I think she's absolutely amazing. I mean, those 4 people that I chose are just a small section. There are so many amazing people who are over 50 and who look amazing. I mean, I really don't think it's no age at all. I don't understand when people think that they should be like decrepit almost.
Exactly.
Now, I do have a problem with sometimes more mature ladies acting like children or like teenagers, like, for example, Madonna. I do have a little problem with that, sort of the way that the dress says. Actually, I don't think any woman really should dress like that, because I think sometimes it's just ridiculous the way some women do dress. But especially someone of her age, I think really doesn't look right. I don't know what you guys think. I don't know if I'm just being... I know, everyone can dress how they want and everything, but I just don't think it looks nice on her. I think she'd look better with sort of different clothes sometimes. Although she's got a fantastic body, I have to say.
As you know, I love fashion too. And I do not think that you need to dress like, you know, an old woman just because you are of a certain age. But I do think some things are age appropriate. Yeah. And I don't think that some of the things that she wears, like, I mean, the Met Ball was recently in America, and it's one of those events where the fashionistas come out and the design houses queue up to dress people. And she did look quite, I thought, inappropriate. Because I thought, you know, so someone who's a bit younger than her, but I think there are times she does look absolutely amazing, like you said, how she dresses, but I just think sometimes things need to be...
Keren, what do you think? I'm sensing a different opinion here.
Yes, I feel that it's really up to you. And I think what's also interesting is that you can see young girls and look at them and think, I don't know why you're dressed like that. So I don't think it's just because you're older. I think sometimes people see a fashion, think it will suit them, and actually don't look at themselves in the mirror, or don't have a mum or friends who say, not especially for you, you know, because different things do suit different people. Yeah, and I think it's really important to remember. And I think as you get older, your skin colour changes, your hair colour changes, and therefore it's really important that you look at what you're wearing suits you now rather than what suits you.
It's true, because you can sort of try and keep a style that you've had since you were like 18 all the way through until your 70s, and it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work. No, it is different.
Okay, Lisa Marie, you had some other interesting facts for us, didn't you?
Yes, we did. There was so I have to get a bit closer to my laptop here, but it was I think an article that was like different points of people who are over 50 and what they feel like are great about being over 50. And we had one saying that...
We've got time for one before the break, so let's see.
We have? Okay, I think I've missed it. Someone said that relationship breakdown is hard whatever age you are, and especially hard when you get older. They're saying all the angst should not be about being attractive anymore, plus fears of loneliness. And apparently divorce can be higher in your 50s. Divorce rate, maybe that's people who are deciding I've got to a certain point in my life and deciding that, you know what, I'm not accepting what I did before and wanting a new lease of life, maybe moving forward.
So divorce rates are...
It said that divorce rates are highest in over 50.
Divorce rates are really high in people in their 50s and 60s. And what's interesting is that it's more and more women that are filing for divorce, because women actually feel more empowered than they did. A lot of us are back in the workplace. In my mother's generation, most women weren't in the workplace, so you didn't feel that you actually could look after yourself or manage, whereas now you're on your own income and things have changed in your life and you feel this is the moment for me to have my own life.
Okay. Yeah. All right, so that's very interesting. We're going to talk more about this. Thank you very much, Lisa Marie. We've got some more stuff to talk about after the break, and then we're going to be going back over to Deborah to see how she's doing over there, so join us after this.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to the show. We're speaking about embracing your 50s and actually enjoying it and not dreading it. So Deborah over here is having a lovely makeover. So we've done quite a bit with the hair already, haven't we, guys? Yeah. So it's got a lot more volume already. And Andrea, if we can just speak to you a second. So what are you doing with the makeup?
I've spoken to Deborah before the show, and she doesn't normally wear a ton of makeup on her eyes, so we've just kept it nice and fresh, but just emphasised around the outside a little bit with something a little bit darker.
Yeah.
And then I'm just putting a primer on her skin.
Okay. And how does makeup differ for the over 50s? What tips could you give our viewers that may be sort of not sure if they should be buying different products now? Or?
I think your skin colour changes as you get older, the same as your hair changes. So you just need to be aware of maybe you need to warm it up a little bit, just change the colour slightly. And just add to it. Put a little bit on, stand back, look in the mirror, and then think, oh, I might need a little bit more, and go back and add to it, rather than putting too much on from the start.
So I didn't actually know that your skin colour changes as you get older.
Yeah, the same as your hair does.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the tone will change slightly, yeah.
Okay, so you'd use the normal makeup that you would as you did when you were younger then?
No, you might need to change the colours slightly. You need to be careful on the eyes, that nothing's too dull that can drag the eyes down a little bit, so just nice and bright,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right then, so we're going to be coming back to you shortly to speak to you again. So Keren, so I know this is a major thing that especially ladies I would say worry about are their looks. Okay, what's going to happen, especially if they have a partner, they're married and they're thinking, oh, what if my partner won't like me anymore? He's going to be attracted by this younger woman in the office, and all these kind of doubts and fears and things that go on in their head. What would you say about that?
Well, I think the first thing is to think about our heads, because the thoughts we have in our heads are our thoughts. No one actually puts them in there for us. So when we're sitting there with all these doubts and we're saying all these negative things about ourselves, of I'm not as pretty, I'm not as nice looking, everyone else looks better, and on we go, what we do is we set up a whole lot of negativity inside ourselves. And then what happens is our brain goes, yeah, you're right actually, you do look awful. And you begin to feel awful inside. As soon as you feel awful, the message you give out to everyone is, don't look at me, I look absolutely awful. And so I take a look at someone and I see someone who thinks that they look awful. And I think, yeah, they're right. Rather than my inside actually saying, how can I feel good? I feel good. I'm 50. Yes, I may have wrinkles, or 60 or 70, but actually doesn't that show that I've been through life and I've got some wisdom and I've learnt some different things? And the more I change my inner message, the better I feel about myself. And one of the things that we can do is actually remind ourselves of when we felt good. So there's a really good exercise that people can do, is to actually think about when they felt good. So to think of a time when they really felt good and take themselves back there as though they were there now and really get that feeling of looking good and feeling good. And then think of another time and do it again. and do that 3 times. And then every time you find your head going, you don't really look very good, take yourself back to those 3 situations, and immediately you'll find, because you can see as I'm talking, if I'm sort of sitting like this, I'm going to look very different than if I'm sitting like this and I'm, you know,
straighten up.
Yeah.
Got bad posture sometimes.
And sitting up and feeling good. And so just putting on feeling good will make all the difference. And then whoever's with me will be dazzled by my radiance, whatever, and won't start looking at things in a negative way.
I think women in general, even when young women as well, they do have these they don't value themselves very much sometimes, and they do compare themselves to other women, and they, especially when they look in magazines and they're flicking through and they see all these stars and these celebrities, and they do put themselves down by what they see around them. So I think this topic, and I think, you know, affects everyone. It's something that every woman goes through, and I think men even today are starting to go through that as well. And it's interesting what you said about how you feel about yourself, because the other day I was feeling quite bloated, and I said to my husband, "I'm fat," and he said, "Yes, you are." And I said, "Excuse me, what do you mean? You're not supposed to say that. You're not meant to agree with me." He goes, "Well, you said it, so I'm just agreeing with you." He said, "If you'd said to me you're slim and you're beautiful, I would have agreed with you as well." So that really taught me a lesson, because I just wasn't expecting him to say that. But it's true. So whatever we feel about ourselves, then other people will see that, and other people will agree with us. So it's quite...
Absolutely, and we can make ourselves whatever it is we are thinking. So if we're thinking negative, we come over as negative, we come over as grumpy, we don't come over as much fun. Of course no one wants to be with us. And if we think, gosh, aren't I terrific, and aren't I doing well, and, you know, aren't I fun to be with, immediately people pick it up. And as you're right, we didn't learn to do that just the day we turned 50 or the day we turned 60. We've been doing it for a lot of years. We just add on to it. Now I'm older, of course it's worse. Rather than what we've been doing.
That's an extra insecurity on top of everything else that was already there.
Absolutely.
But we have to start getting rid of these things. Not good.
We certainly
now
do.
You're actually friends with Deborah.
Yeah,
So
I know
how do you
Deborah.
two know each other?
We know each other through doing some work together, which is coaching work and therapy work. That's how we know each other.
Okay, so how do you feel, Deborah, in your 50s? Would you say you're quite confident about yourself, or are there still things that you worry about?
I think there's a bit of a mix, really. I'd be lying if I said that I felt completely confident. But I think by the time you get to 50, you've learnt to be quite pragmatic about things. You can take things in your stride. You've got quite a lot of experience under your belt.
Yeah.
You know, I suppose most issues that you come across, you've actually gone through in some sort of way already, you know? Yeah. So even though maybe you've got less energy and less resources in some ways, you know how to use the resources that you've got better.
What would you say are the main things that over 50s worry about then, in your opinion?
I think they probably worry about, I guess they worry about the future and possibly these days about money, poverty and I mean, it's like you say in your book, Keren, about having a family at home still sometimes, kids that can't afford to fly the nest, that sort of thing.
Although some mums love that, like having their kids around for
a while.
Then you want to kick them out, come on, it's time to go.
And then the other side of that is you know, like elderly parents sometimes, you know, so quite a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, I can imagine. Okay, so Keren, back to you now. So, okay, this is one of the main things that women especially worry about. What other things would you say are when people come to you for help? What are the other things that mainly that people worry about?
I think that very often their lives haven't turned out exactly as they expected. So they may have got married young and their relationship isn't exactly as they wanted, and they're not really sure whether they're getting enough out of it, or their relationship may have ended and they don't know how to find a new partner because they want to find a new partner. People are in jobs where they think, I'm not sure if I really want to be here, but I'm too old. The number of times people say to me, I'm too old to move my job. And actually, you then ask them how old they are, and they say 51. And as they won't retire till they're 67, they've actually got 16 years longer to work. Young people don't go into work and stay in their first job for 16 years. So people do move. So of course with 16 years to work you can move, but they worry that they won't be able to move. They worry that they don't keep up with other people, that they weren't born with, you know, a computer in their hand.
I think this is the thing, because sometimes it's quite scary when you see very young children using iPads and really knowing their way around computers and everything, and it's like you look at them and think, my gosh, how do they get it so quick? And then I think older people do worry, like if they do move jobs, because even my sister, she's in her 40s, but she was made redundant, and then she had to move jobs, and she was so scared of like the younger ones, the sort of the 18, 19-year-olds, thinking, oh my gosh, they know everything about, you know, the computer system, and I'm too slow with it, I'm not picking up like they do. She was really worried about it. And I said, listen, you've got so much experience, you've got other things going for you, you're going to pick that up as you go along. And she's now actually helping other people there. So I think initially it's quite scary, but then afterwards, when you get into it, you know, you find out you can actually do quite a lot.
You can do exactly the same. You may have to learn it, and you may need to be shown it. But of course, you can do exactly the same as other people.
We're getting some... Let's just see, because we're getting a few tweets coming. I don't know if you can hear it pinging. Just a second. Oh, it's a bit slow now. See, the internet's connection's not very good here, but I did see something about Keren here. Anyway, let's see in a minute if that comes up. Okay, I think we've got a couple of minutes to the break. So about career, what's the best advice then you can give someone that is worried about maybe changing their job or changing their career? What would you say?
I think the first thing to do is to think about, what is it that I want to get out of my working life? And what is it that I don't get here? So you begin to start to identify what your needs are, and also what are the difficulties in the place that you're in. Because some of the difficulties you can actually deal with. Because sometimes you just feel, oh, I don't like it here, but you don't really know what it is that you don't like. And if, for example, you feel I'm not getting promotion, or I'm not being able to learn things, then you may need to talk to your boss about those things. But it's really thinking about, where do I want to have got to, and what do I want to have achieved, and what do I need in order to be able to have got there? It's really important, and go for it, absolutely.
Okay. So we're going to go to a quick break. If you want to get in touch, as Sergi has, Sergi Brace saying, I agree with Keren's profound theory on the thoughts in my head. So that, you know what, that's something that we all go through. I think sometimes we think, oh, I'm the only one that feels insecure, I'm the only one that goes through these things, but everyone does. But we have a choice on what to do with those thoughts that come. We have a choice of agreeing with them, or we have a choice saying, no, hang on a minute, this is wrong. What you're saying to me in my head is wrong, and I'm confident and I can do it. And we all have that choice, but sometimes people just agree with the thoughts and they just let the thoughts put them down. But if you want to get in touch as well, I forgot to give the contact details at the beginning. If you want to get in touch, you can even give us a call on 020-7686-6300. You can give your comments live on air. You can also email Chris at Chrissy B Show, or you can also tweet, as Sergi did, at Chrissy B Show. So join us after this.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show. Let's just go over to our model here, our beautiful model Deborah. So what have we done so far? Hair's done now, looking really nice and full of volume. That's really great. And makeup, what have you done so far?
We've done Deborah's eyes, and then I've just put a nice primer on her skin, and then I've just done a really nice, light, fresh base, a little bit of a coral blush, just to bring out the colour of her cheeks, and we're just going to emphasise the brow at the moment, and then we're going to do the lip. Okay.
Now, some ladies worry about sort of droopy eyes as they get older. How can you enhance that? How can you change that with makeup?
With the eye, always remember never to take it any wider than the actual eye itself. So if Deborah just turns there, as long as it doesn't go any wider than that, if you start to take it down there, it will start to pull the eye down. So a good tip is always, if you do your makeup, get a little cotton bud and just make sure that's all clean around the area there, so it will just lift it up. And then if you take your concealer underneath and pull that up, it will just lift the eye up naturally.
Okay. And how about colours? What would you suggest about colours?
Colour it's just really what's personal preference really, but I think personally I love bronzes and browns as you get older. I think they suit everyone. Nothing too dark. I would avoid a real smoky. You can do a smoky eye, but if you're going to do a smoky eye, then keep it just a bit grey. Don't go really black. a nice grey, a smoky grey, and really, really blend. Everything you do, big brush, blend it, blend it, blend it.
Okay, so we've got a bit more to do, haven't you?
Yeah.
But already got a comment here from Katie Cross. Thank you, Katie, for writing in. Deborah looks amazing, fabulous makeover. Women really can still look incredible over 50, just need more confidence. I agree. Thank you for that. So if you'd like to tweet as well, at Chrissy B Show. Now, Keren, tell us a bit about your book that you've written for over 50s.
I've written this book because I found with the people that I work with is that people often said two things. One is I really want to do some work for myself. I don't necessarily want to come and see a coach or a counsellor, but what I'd like to do is to be able to make my life run more smoothly. And so I've written this book for the individual.
And it's called Live the Life You Love at 50 Plus.
Yes, and it's a handbook for career and life success. So it's divided into several sections. One about really looking at what do I want out of my life? Because unless we know what we want out of our life, we're very unlikely to get it. So it's also important to know where am I now? It's a bit like directions. If you don't know where you are, you won't find how to get to the next place. You need to know where you are now before you go to the next place, and that's exactly what you need to do, is to take stock of your life and say what's working, what isn't working, and now where do I want to go to, and what are the things that I can do. And then it divides into different sections. There's a section around work, being successful at work, feeling good in your career, changing your career, setting up your own business. And then there's
Is it true that a lot of the main entrepreneurs now are 50 plus? Is that what they're saying?
1 in 6 businesses are set up by 50 plus, and their businesses last for much longer than a lot of the other businesses because they bring all that wisdom and knowledge that, with them when they move.
They're not so impulsive as well. They sort of think more maybe
And they're often doing it because they've got a passion for something. So to run your own business, it is hard work. And so what you've got to do is really like whatever it is that you're doing. So if you want to set up a catering business, you've actually got to really like cooking. If you don't, a few weeks in, you're going to be
hard work, isn't
exactly, and you're going to be thinking, why am I doing this? So you need to have a passion, and you also need to be resilient because it will go up and down a bit, and you need to be able to work on your own because when you start a business, you're unlikely to be able to afford to have people working with you. So you may go into business with a partner, but very often you'll be on your own. And you also don't have the supports. People very often, when they move into their own business, actually forget that they don't have the supports that they did in an office. There isn't an IT person that you can call who's going to run up the stairs in your office and help you. You are on your own. You're going to have to find somebody else and help in different ways and learn different things.
So there's quite a lot to talk about on this subject, isn't it? But let's talk a little bit about, actually, before we do, because we've got a survey here, and this was Women's Health magazine, and they asked women what the best thing about being over 50 was. So we've got a few answers here. This person says, this is Susie, turning 50, I felt liberated. I felt like I could say what I wanted to say, do things I wanted to do, and wear things I wanted to wear. It's an interesting one. And also, Clara says, we don't sweat the little things anymore, and we've learned that darn it, everything is a little thing. So it's true, I suppose when we're younger, it's like we worry about everything, don't we? Oh, does that boy like me? Or do I look good? And there's so many silly things sometimes that come to our minds, but I suppose when we're older, we're more mature, we're wiser, we've been through a lot in our life, and like those things don't really, those things that used to bother us a lot before don't anymore.
No, and also we actually know that things change. I think when we're young, something happens and you feel it is forever. You know, I'm going through a bad patch, it's forever. As you're older, you think, okay, it's not such a great patch, and the next phase will be better. It never stays the same. And so you do learn, you're more worldly, you understand life better.
We've got another one as well. The woman over 50, this is by N. O'Reilly, the woman over 50 makes her relationship with herself number one. The kids are grown. Hopefully they've left home, but if they haven't, never mind. She's learned to let them go and stopped worrying about them. I'm not sure I agree with that one, because I think mums do still worry about their kids no matter how old their kids are. I think mums do still, I suppose if they've got jobs and they're settled down and everything, the worry's not so much, but I think all parents still worry about their kids.
I think all parents worry about their kids. I remember when I was in my 20s and 30s, and my mother would worry about me, and I'd be rather irritated, thinking, I'm so grown up, just leave me alone, you know, I can get on with my own life. And now I've got children who are in their 30s, and you know, I have to very often say to myself, I should be apologising to my mum, because actually I do worry about them. And I worry about them not every day in the same way as you might when they were small, or you worry about different things. But if they're finding life difficult, they're having difficulties in their relationship, or they're having difficulties in their job, you worry about them exactly the same. Or even if they phone and say to you, because you always very often find that kids go back to their mums when they don't feel well, so they phone and tell you, I'm not feeling well, because you're the person that's going to listen to them, and then you still worry about will they be better or whatever in exactly the same way. So I think that
I
that
have to agree with you on that one. Okay, then let's see what else the people have said here. In their 50s, women realise that they don't have to have a mate. They realise it's okay not to have a date everywhere you go. Let's talk a bit about this dating thing. And so say, you know, someone is single, or maybe they've divorced, or they've separated, or they've just never had a partner for a while. They do sometimes, some worry about dating, and some, you know, they think, how am I going to get back into the dating period? What would you say about that?
I think if you haven't been dating for a long time because you've been in a long-term relationship, or you haven't wanted to, it's a bit like riding a bike. You are a bit rusty, so you've got to get back into the saddle and try and work out what it is that you need to do. And I think that very often I talk to women who actually say, well, I never meet anyone. And I then will ask them, so what do you do in your week? And they'll give me a list of the things they do. And it's going to work, it's meeting their girlfriends, it's going to see their families, and actually they aren't giving themselves any opportunity to actually meet people. If you want to meet someone, you've got to get yourself out there. So join a class, do an activity that where you might meet new friends and might meet new people. It's really important.
So you can't do the same thing day in, day out and expect something different to happen.
Nobody just knocks on your door and as you're sort of sitting at home watching the telly and says, you know, do you want a date? You have to be out there looking for someone.
Okay, we have another one, another tweet that's come through. This is from Peter. He says, love the show, watch it every week. Say hi to Emma and Mario from an old friend, Ruben. Right? So he's watching? All right, so you can give him a wave. Give him a wave, Mario. That camera there, you go. He's embarrassed now. And also Jane saying, really pleased to hear the over 50 conversation being had. I think it's really good as well. So join us after this. We're going to reveal Deborah's final look and we'll talk a bit more about this subject. So join us then.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back. What's all going on in the studio today? It's quite noisy because everyone's moving around, but we're going to reveal the final look just a second. But let's take this caller first of all. Good evening.
Hello?
Hello. How are you?
Okay.
What did you have to say about the topic?
Is this me? Oh, great. I just want to say quickly, I'm loving the show.
Oh, great. I'm glad. Can you turn the volume down of your TV because we're getting a bit of feedback?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm going to move away from the TV now. Sorry. I don't want to ruin your...
It's all right.
This is Sergi Bray. You read my text earlier.
Yes.
Okay.
So what do you think about the topic, about being over 50?
It's more of a state of mind rather than just an appearance. And I really appreciate this thing because I understand how I may be quite a young man, but really, I really feel what people go through at that age. You know what I mean?
Do you have older friends that sort of tell you their worries, or are you just intuitive?
I guess I see what you mean, but I don't. I'm kind of worried about it.
I think you're cutting out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sort of losing connection right now. It's quite sad.
No problem.
But see you.
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking? Oh, he's gone. Okay, never mind. Well, thanks for calling anyway. All right, so I'm just going to read out now a question from a viewer that's asking what I would do in this situation. She says, I'm in my 30s and do worry about the future of my marriage. I worry that a younger, more attractive woman will catch his eye when I get older. He's a great husband and we get on really well. Although I think we need to spend more time together as the kids are coming first at the moment. How can I ensure my husband won't leave me in the future? What would Chrissy do? Well, in short, you can't control another human being. If he wants to go one day, he will. So, but I think you need to give your husband more credit than that, because you're just assuming that all he's interested in you, you know, it's just the looks that he's interested in. And it's not that, it's much more. You said you get on really well. You know, I don't think you have any reason to be doubting him. So first of all, I would say give your husband more credit than that. Also, I think when someone is afraid of something, when in your case you're afraid that your husband will start looking at another woman and leave you in the future, you're going to start behaving in certain ways eventually. You're going to maybe start to feel very insecure, you're going to become very jealous. And it's like almost a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're going to end up pushing him away in some sense, because maybe you're going to start accusing him of things that he hasn't even done. And that relationship that's so strong today might end up going downhill because of the way that you start to behave. So, you know, like we were saying at the beginning with Keren, don't let these negative thoughts stay in your head. Of course they're going to come. They come to all of us, but you need to get rid of them immediately and think the positive things. Your husband loves you. He's been with you. You get on well. Now, one thing you do mention here is that you... at the moment your kids are coming first, and I think this is something that I think you need to address, because yes, you know, children are very important, but in my personal opinion, I think your relationship is first with your husband, because the kids are going to leave the roost one day. They're not going to be around anymore. And if you're not spending that time, that quality time with your husband, you're not investing in your relationship, you could end up growing apart and not even realize it. Maybe now the kids are home and there's, you know, there's lots to talk about, but what about when they leave? What are you going to have in common? So make sure you still invest in your relationship with your husband. I would put him first before the children. And, you know, I don't think you have anything to worry about. At the end of the day, even if he does leave you, does that mean your world has to crumble? Because this is what I say to people sometimes when I talk to people that worry about these things. This is why it's important not to make your partner or any one human being the center of your universe, the center of your world, because if that person does end up leaving or is out of your life, that means you're going to crumble. So make sure you have value within yourself to say, I'm special, I value myself, and no matter who I have around me, I'm still going to keep going. I don't know what you think, Keren, about that.
I think it's really important that also in your relationship that you build on your relationship. The fact that you have got on well up till now is great. But what made you fall in love? What are the things that you enjoy doing together? So start again to think about those and start doing those things, because it's really important that you go on loving each other for yourselves rather than just because you're someone's parent.
And it doesn't mean, you know, because you've been married for a long time that you need to stop doing the things that you used to do. So everything needs to stay alive, from the bedroom to the things that you know, going out to doing the things that you enjoy. Everything needs to keep going. You can't just sort of let things go downhill.
Absolutely, and also be nice to each other, because when you first meet someone, you're absolutely riveted by their attention, and so you sit down and you talk to them, and then you buy them presents, and you devise activities that they'll like, and you offer surprises, and we forget about that. So go back to doing some of those things. So like think about maybe every fortnight one of you will actually think of something different for you as a couple to do. So you put back some spark and put back some new attention into it.
Definitely. Shall we have a look at Deborah's makeover? I've got someone here. Oh, sorry, I just have to read this one from... So this is from Francis. He's saying, children are like chickens. Don't count the amount you worry as if they are eggs to be hatched. Okay, and also Kate is saying, can't wait to see Deborah's full makeover, neither can we. So let's see the before picture first of all. Okay, that was before she started her makeover, and let's see the final result now. Let's have a nice close-up. Okay, they're a bit slow in the studio today. Well, I can tell you, I can see from here that she looks absolutely beautiful. I love the volume in her hair. There we go. Have a look at take a look. Can you see that? That's beautiful. Now the eyes are really standing out. So you've really made her eyes stand out lovely. She's got lovely eye colour as well. How do you feel, Deborah?
I feel really good. It's been nice having all this attention, to be honest.
Well, you look fabulous as well. Now you two going out after the show.
I think we'll have
to. You can't waste. You can't waste. You know
I think we'll have
everything that's happened. So thank you so much for doing such a great job, guys. Thank you so much.
I enjoyed it.
And do you feel confident about yourself?
I do. I feel, like you say, Keren, I feel as if we should go out.
Definitely, 50 plus.
Watch out for these two.
Whatever age we are.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so let's see what else they said in this Women's Health magazine. This one's quite funny, I think. You know that the clock is the great lever. Those 20-somethings with their perfect bodies looking at yours with pity will someday have their own cellulite to contend with. And that's from C. Northup. And let's see what else they say. You get new hair. They're talking about the best thing about being over 50. You get new hair, new clothes to match who you want to be. You don't feel old, look old, or act old. And that's S. Mitchell. And let's read one more. Nobody's going to fault her for using Botox, getting a nip and tuck. She can be who she wants to be. She can be a redhead one week, a blonde the next. You can tell her you like or you don't like it, but that doesn't mean she's going to follow your advice. What would you think? What would you say about that?
I think
not easily led anymore.
No,
I would say.
Exactly. I think you are your own person at this age, and that's really important.
Yeah. Any final tips, Keren, for women over 50 that are worried about their age and they're thinking, do you know what? Or maybe they're sort of 49 and they're thinking that it's their birthday very soon and they're thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be 50. And they're so upset, they're getting depressed about it. What would you say to them?
I'd say to them, just be delighted that you have got to this age and you've got lots of years ahead, and think about what is it that you want to achieve and look forward rather than thinking about, oh no, I've missed I've done those years and I won't be able to do them again. That's true. There's an awful lot of what we do in our youth that we're all pretty pleased that we don't have to do again. So isn't that great? Some of those things are over. Like, I'll never have to take an exam again. Isn't that wonderful?
That's true. Tell us more. Tell us more about this.
So it's about thinking about those things that you've done and that now you're in a different place, and think about what is it I still want to achieve. Because there's so many
you don't have
years.
to do exams anymore. You don't have to give birth anymore.
No, you don't have to take a driving test anymore. There's lots of things that you don't have to do. All those firsts that you did, the first time you went to your first job and you were absolutely terrified, it may be a bit scary going to another job, but you actually know what that's like. Yeah. So lots of the firsts are done, so that you're actually already equipped. You've got years of equipment that you're taking with you, of skills and ideas and knowledge and wisdom that you take with you into wherever you go. So actually be excited and embrace it. And as I said earlier, change your head and say, isn't it terrific that I'm this age and I know so much and I can go on doing more and more.
And it is all in the way we think about things. I think that is the key to everything,
Absolutely.
Any situation, any problem that a person goes through. It's very easy to think negatively. I think we just do it naturally. Normally the first thing that comes to our head is something negative, whether it's about someone that we meet for the first time, whether it's maybe a comment someone makes about us and we take it the wrong way. The first thing normally is negative, so we really need to change up here the way we think.
We do, and if we find that we get stuck and we're going round and round and round in a circle, it's really okay to go and find someone to help you. Don't just do it on your own. Talk to your friends, and if you're really stuck, talk to a professional. Because sometimes we get into a negative loop, and however hard we say to ourselves, I must stop this, we then just go round and round and round again with the same problem. So it's okay to say, I'm having a difficult time, and as we age, we will face different things. You know, Deborah mentioned sort of, parents becoming old, and actually facing that for a lot of us is very difficult, and we don't know what to do. So it's fine to ask for help. Sometimes I think that what people think is that I've got to 50 and I should know everything by now. But why? So we also give ourselves a hard time.
Don't we?
We always learn, and not to give yourself a hard time.
Yeah. So I think that's very important that, if you are going through any problem at all and you can't handle it on your own, there is no shame in speaking to someone.
Absolutely.
I had to do it one day and I will do it if I need to again. I talk about things that are going on in my head sometimes with friends and everything. I talk to people. But if you need sort of further help, you need counselling of some sort, do email me on chris@chrissybshow.tv. We can refer you to anyone that you need to be referred to, and you can also correspond with me as well, chris@chrissybshow.tv. We are going to be back again on Monday. I've run out of breath. Thank you, everybody in the studio. Thank you so much, Keren.
Thank you.
And have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And remember, don't think badly of yourself. Love yourself, value yourself. Bye for now. Hi, I'm here for another Ladies at Lunch, and this peanut sauce. Very nice.
Barbara, slow down on the old eating this time. Don't. Sorry.
It's messy. Well, we got
A bit messy, but really nice.
wipe it off now before you practice it.
Two.
That's why.
Sorry.
Yeah, you can